Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to show you tips for working in Photoshop. So for this tip, I'm going to show you how to have the same document in two different windows. So what I'm going to do is go to Window, Arrange, New Window, and then I'm going to go to Window, Arrange, and 2 up vertical. And what this means is we've got the same document, but we're just viewing it through two different windows here. So if I create a new layer, this will show you, and make a change to this one, it will show up in the other one. Because it's the exact same document, but we're just seeing it twice. So this can be useful when you want to work on something and you want to get up close to the details, but you also want to be able to have like an overall view at the same time, which can stop you from, losing sight of what you're actually supposed to be doing. You won't get lost in the details because you can see how it's coming all together on the smaller document. And I find this quite useful. So as I just showed you how to have the same document up at the same time, I'm going to show you a little shortcut you can do to get there. So instead of just moving my cursor up to Window, Arrange, and then New Window, if I press Alt, you can see the words at the top are underlined. So you can see for F on the file is underlined, E on edit is underlined, and you can see for the others, and W for window is underlined. And now if I hold Alt and then press W, it will show me the window options, and then as you can see, Arrange is underlined. So still holding Alt, I'm going to press A, and then as you can see down at the bottom, Window, New Window, the W is underlined. If I press the W, it's giving me the same document again. So I'll just show you that fast. You can do it quite fast if you get used to it. See how I just created that by doing that slight shortcut. So I'll just show you one more time. I'm going to hold Alt, W, A, W, and now I've got the same document again. You can use that for pretty much anything that has a letter underlined at the start of a word. So if I wanted to view this document horizontally, instead of going to View, Flip Horizontal, what we can do is press Alt, tap V, and then tap H. As you can see, H is underlined for horizontal, and now press Enter, and it's flipped it. So I'll do that again, flip it back. Alt, VH, Enter. See, that wasn't sped up, that was just using that little shortcut. This tip can be really useful when you're working on projects to save time, because you're not having to use your cursor and find stuff all the time. You can just use that quick. So let's say I wanted to turn this background into a normal layer. So what you normally do is you go to Layer, New, Layer from Background, and then that's done that. But we could do that a lot faster. So if I press Alt, LNB, it's done it. So what I did there is I pressed Alt, and then L, as you can see the L's underlined, L, and then New, because it's underlined there, the N, and then the B's underlined. So that's turned it back into a background, and if I press it really fast, hold Alt for the whole time, L and B, L, then N, then B, it's done it, you see. I'll do it again. It's just that fast. It wasn't sped up or anything. It's just a really cool trick. It's a useful way to speed up your workflow. So one tip I have for using the lasso tool is what I usually do is I'll start out with the polygonal lasso tool, which is here. I'll be going along. This just gives you pretty straight lines. It doesn't really give you any curves at all. But if I press Alt while I'm using it, so if I hold Alt and I left click on Windows, right, it'll switch to the regular lasso tool. And if I let go of Alt, it switches back to the polygonal lasso tool. So instead of having to switch manually by, going to one, clicking the other, you don't even have to let go. You can just keep going. So it works both ways. So if I'm using the lasso tool, the regular one, which is just here, right? I can move along, creating any kind of shape I want. And now I'm going to hold Alt. You'll see the little icon change in a second. You see, it's just switched now to the polygonal lasso tool, which is going to give me very straight lines. And I can switch back again. Switch again to the polygonal lasso tool. Now switched again back to the regular lasso tool. And I find this trick most useful when I'm going around artwork and I need to be quite particular about how I'm doing it. So maybe I'll start using the polygonal lasso tool. And then maybe I want to switch at this point to the regular. So I'll just hold Alt, left click. You see, it just changed right there to the regular lasso tool. And I can switch back again. And I'm using the space bar to drag the document so I can see it better. And then switch back to the regular lasso tool. And then hold Control. When you hold Control, you see there's a little circle that appears. This means you can now left click to complete the selection. And then you can fill it with any colour you want to. So that's a neat little trick that I don't think too many people know about. So here, I'm going to show you how to save a selection. So if I use the lasso tool, you just press L for the polygonal lasso tool in my case. I'm going to create my selection. Now I'm going to go to Select, Save Selection, and I'm going to call it Selection 2. And press Enter or OK. Then I'm going to deselect my selection. And now to get that same selection back, I'm going to go to Select, Load Selection, and then I'm going to click on the one I saved, so that'll be Selection 2. And now I've got the selection back again. So you can also see your selections on the Channels panel. So I'm going to go to Window, Channels, and here we have the selection I made. So if I just press Control and click on that area there, So we'll bring up the selection. And there is one trick you can do. Opposite the channels, there are these little shortcuts. So if I press Control 7, it just brings up this, which we don't actually want. So we're going to press Control 2. What we actually do is we press Control and then Alt and then the number, so 7, and then it brings up the selection. So I don't even have to have this channels panel open. I'll just X off it. I'll just press Control Alt 7, and there's the selection I made. So I could create another selection and do the same thing. And except this time, I'm going to go to Window, Channels, and then I'm going to go here, where it says Save Selection as Channel. So I'm going to do that now. And that's done that for me. So if I press Control Alt 8, it'll bring up that selection. And if I press Control Alt 7, it will bring up the selection we had before. So that's one way to do it. That's a way to save a selection without having to actually press Save, Select and Save Selection. So there is another way to save a selection, and that's simply to just make a new layer, Shift Control Alt N. Let's say I'll use the marquee tool to create a square. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it. Let's say purple. And then you're just going to press Alt and Backspace to fill with the foreground colour. And then I'll make it so we can't see it by clicking on the eye icon. So to have that square as a selection, all I need to do is go over to that layer. I'll just name it, double click it, and call it Square Selection. Now on that layer, I'm going to press Control and then click on the layer icon here. And that brings up a selection of the layer. So that's another way to do it. That's another way you can save a selection without actually having to press Select and then Save Selection. So there are a couple of tricks and tips I've used to do that. So a trick you can do when having two documents open is holding the space bar. You can move it around, one of them anyway, but if you want to move both of them around at the same time, you have to press Shift as well as the space bar. So as you can see now, they're both moving around at the same time. As you can see here. Here I'm going to show you how you can close all the documents except the one you're working on. So what I'm going to do is go to File and Close Others. So I'm going to click that now. And it's asking me if I want to save it. Nope. So now we just have that document on its own. Alternatively, we could just use the shortcut Control Alt P, and in a second you're going to see these documents here disappear. So I'm going to use that now, Control Alt P, and as you can see, they've just disappeared. We closed them. And now that's a nice little shortcut, just to remove all the documents that you don't need at the moment. And if I wanted to close this document, I will just press Control W. Do I want to save the changes? No. And that's that. So I hope you have learned some useful tips in this video, and if you have, then maybe consider leaving a like and subscribing. If you're interested in my art, you can find it on my Redbubble shop and other print-on-demand platforms. The links are in the description. And thank you for watching.